Hello, you're watching Much Ado About Something today, and I'm Donna. Well, we are in the midst of the storm that's coming from, I think it was a hurricane. It's reduced down to a tropical storm, Debbie. So we're out here just looking at the rain. You can see there'll be no problem with getting enough rain this week. It's a lot of rain falling, and it's been falling since about 4 o'clock this morning. Well, it might be a tropical storm out there today, but we're not working outside today. As you know, I've been doing the Every Bit Counts Challenge, and today is day 7 and 8. Now, I've got quite a bit of things to do. The first thing I'm going to do is make a cup of tea, because there's nothing better on a day like today than a good cup of tea. So I'm going to get my tea pot out. Now it's a possibility we may lose power today. We do lose power in storms often here because our trees are planted real close to the top of the ground because of the clay soil. They plant trees up on the upper part of the ground, so that they don't drown out in the clay soil. But the thing about that is when it rains like this and it floods, it loosens up the soil around the tree roots and they topple over. And when they topple over on anything that's around. They topple over on highways, on power lines, and just anything that's around. I'm going to choose this little cup today. It's got a busy bee on it, and I will be busy today. I've got the water heating up in the pot. I'm going to make pomegranate and acai tea. Pomegranate and acai tea. I have to remind myself how to say that. Oh, it smells really good. That tea smells really, really good this morning. That's a good choice because I'm going to be busy today. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about the acai. It's a species of a palm tree, and it's grown for its fruit, leaves, trunk, wood, and hearts of palm. Now, the fruit are berries. The acai berry is a small dark purple berry that contains essential nutrients like fiber, antioxidants, healthy fats, and amino acids. It offers potential benefits to the heart. And a lot of people eat these berries in a dish. You can go to some places and order an acai bowl with the berries in it, and it's really good. It's good for your gut, liver, kidneys, and nervous system. It may help stabilize blood sugar and lower lipids. Acai also appears to have antimicrobial and anti-parasitic properties. And acai is not to be eaten or drink every day. It is for an occasional treat. I like it because of all of the things I've just shared with you. So that's the tea of choice this morning. And I'm going to make a good cup of tea before I get started on my Every Bit Counts challenge, which will be making relish, sweet pickle relish. And I'm making this from the Ball Blue book, The Guide to Home Canning and Freezing. I've got a variety of odd and ends here. I've got some cucumbers that I want to use up. Most people would throw the yellow cucumbers away, but I don't throw them away. I either save them for seed or I make relish out of them. And then I'm going to make some relish from the zucchini and squashes that I've gathered here, because you can only freeze so much and you can only eat so much. When it comes in, you have quite a bit left over, and I have quite a bit left over. I'll be needing some cabbage, which I have a bag of cabbage in my refrigerator that I can certainly use, and I'll be using some onions and different things that's in this recipe. I've got quart jars that I'm washing here because, believe it or not, Donald and I love relish. So we can put a quart in here and we'll just eat it till it's gone. It keeps good in the refrigerator. And, you know, we just have that normally with almost every meal that requires something a little bit on the side. We don't have it with like chicken and dumplings or some things like that, but we do eat it with soup, chili, beans, many other dishes. We love relish. So I've got my jars washing here, and they'll be the bigger jars. I think this one is not a quart. It's maybe two, maybe, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I know it's not as big as a quart. Maybe 3/4 of a quart. And then I've got these, and they're not quite as big, and I'll be using those. I got to get them cleaned up and sterilized and get them ready for use. Let me get out my little book here. One of my sweet granddaughters drew this. This is my little book of recipes that I've used over the years. And I may use this recipe to the T, and I may not. There's Dixie relish on here. I'll be making some Dixie relish, and I'll make some sweet pickle relish, so I can make several relishes today and use up my odd and end stuff that I have. Let's just flip through here and see what if I can find my squash relish recipe. Well, here it is. I found my squash relish recipe. I've made this on a video for you. If you go to my videos, you can search the videos there and put in how to make squash relish. I'm sure this will come up on my channel, and you'll be able to make squash relish just like I do. Well, I am going to make squash relish from the squash that I've got here. I'm not sure how much that'll make. And I'll be making a different relish with these cucumbers. There is a dill relish that's really good. I might make that. But I'll be making relish with these odd and end vegetables that I've got to use up, and add some stuff to the pantry. And let's see what will work out here. Let me get this tea steeped. And I've got to put the teapot up so I can get the chopper out, or the food processor. We sometimes refer to it as a chopper. Thought I'd just share with you a little more of the front yard. This is out in the front yard. There is some flooding out in the ditch, if you can see it right here. I can't show you the whole drainage ditch. I would have to get out from under the stoop, and I would be soaked, and everything would be soaked. I couldn't capture it for you. But you can see how hard it's raining. The wind, the strong winds. We've heard the sirens go off. You know, we live in a little city here. We are in the Appalachians, but we're in the flatlands of the Appalachians here where we're at. And it's a small city, very small, but still the city nonetheless. We're not out in the country or the mountainous terrain off to ourselves. We are in a development, and we're in the city limits. But we've heard the sirens, so there's been emergency services going out. Not sure what is going on, but maybe we'll see some of that later on the news. The governor of our state has declared it our state in a state of emergency, so there's a lot of flooding going on. Still a lot of hard blowing rain. But we're not going to worry about that. We're going to go on with our Every Bit Counts challenge, because we're inside where it's warm and dry, and it's cool enough to go ahead and do this. I raised the window in the living room so it'd be a little cooler. So we're going to get right on with day 7 of our Every Bit Counts challenge. Now I've got the food processor out. I'm going to do the sweet pickle the sweet pickle relish. I'm going to do that real quick since I don't have as many cucumbers as I do squash here. So that's what we'll start cutting up. Now it calls for a quart of chopped cucumbers. I think that's what I have here. 2 cups of chopped onions. I'll get to chopping those. 1 cup of chopped sweet green pepper, and it says you can add a sweet red pepper. I don't have a sweet red pepper, but I do have some extra sweet peppers right over here. I can use this red pepper, and I can use these peppers that I've got right here. I do have some green peppers or sweet bell peppers cut up in my freezer. If I need to use those, then I will. We're going to need a 1/4 cup of salt, and that is just to, after we get all these vegetables chopped up, we'll need to put the salt over it to draw out some of the moisture. We're going to need 3 1/2 cups of sugar, 2 cups of cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of celery seed, and mustard seed. So I'm going to get to chopping up all of these ingredients. Now I'll have to cut off the ends. I've already washed this. And then cut these up in kind of smaller pieces because I can't put but so much in this food processor at a time. Now this would be a good seed-saving cucumber. It's tough, that's why it wouldn't be good for fresh eating in a salad. I'll just cut these up and put them through the processor and get them shredded up into relish size pieces. That was just 1 cucumber in here. It you know, makes quite a bit of relish. Sometimes you'll find a few big pieces. It takes a little bit to get it all cut up. I'll just take my scissors and just shred those right up. Now you can use any kind of cucumbers that you have to make relish. I just usually use the overgrown cucumbers that I don't normally use for anything else for relish because it gives me a good use for them. And I'm not wasting anything. Now I've got all of my cucumbers cut up. I did end up saving some of these seeds. Got all these seeds down here. I picked out the whole ones that I needed, put them on a napkin and marked them. And so I'll be able to have those when I get them dried out and I'm ready for them. Let's taste the tea and see how good it is today. That's really good. That's good tea this morning. I'll have to make the kids. My husband is at home today and 2 of the grandchildren are here, so I'll have to make some eggs real quick. And we'll go ahead and take these out of the food processor and get ready to chop the next thing. You can already see there's a lot of liquid in here. I'll be draining that off. Take what little bit of things that are too big and go ahead and cut those up to about the size of what's in here. We make a relish at the end of the year with all the stuff from the garden. It's called the end of year relish. The end of garden relish, some people call it. And it's just taking the green tomatoes or whatever you might have in your garden that's left and making a relish from it. And that's really good too. What I like about it is it changes up a little bit. My husband likes for food to always taste the same, but I like things to be just a little bit different, to have a little bit of variance in it sometimes. So that end of year relish is really good. But this sweet pickle relish, you know, it'll go for most anything. It'll go on hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever you want to eat a relish on. So there's all of my little cucumbers that I had that were too big to eat fresh. I took some seeds out, and I've got all this chopped up to make a good sweet relish with it. Getting all that out, and I'm not going to worry about whether or not this is perfectly clean because it's all going to mix together in this bowl anyway. Let's see what we got going on here. We got our 1 quart of chopped cucumbers, 2 cups of chopped onions, a cup of chopped sweet greens, and a cup of chopped sweet red peppers, sweet green peppers. Okay. Now I've got the onion right here. I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting it up. I've already got 1 cup of onion in here, and I'm putting another cup of onion in here. And I've got a red pepper, and then I've got these red peppers, which I've just been taking off the, taking out the seeds right here. I've been taking the seeds out of them. I'm going to use this on one of my batches. I'll go ahead and use this red pepper for this pickle relish, and I also have a green pepper that's already cut up in here that I got out of the freezer. And we'll go ahead and cut these onions up. I have got a lot going on around here this morning with my family. It doesn't seem like it, but I really do. So we'll go ahead and throw these in the food processor and get them chopped up. Everything is smelling really good. Go ahead and add these. I'll go ahead and add the green peppers. And I'll go ahead and chop the red pepper. And I don't wash in between the chopping up of this food because it's all going into the same bowl anyway. I have taken the time to save some of the seeds. We'll save some of the seeds out of this peppers. Let me show you how I cut those peppers up. Just a quick little way. I just take the end here where the stem's at. I take a scissor and go in and cut that end off. And then I go right down the pepper with the scissor and open it up, and you can see the seeds that's in there. And I just take this little scraper that I've got, a little bench scraper, and just go right in here and scrape the seeds out. There might be 1 or 2 seeds left that I'll just tap and get out. And then the pepper is left like this, and I'll cut the pepper up in the food processor. I'll just get the seeds out of the bell pepper, take the middle out. Put it in the food processor. I cut it up a little bit small so that my food processor can manage it. It doesn't take long to chop up a bell pepper. It's really soft. I love the smell of all the relishes together. Everything is smelling so good. It's a little bit of a mess, but well worth it. I've got a couple of big pieces in here that I'll go ahead and cut up with the scissors. But I don't want to puree this too much because I don't want it to be, you know, a puree. I want it just to be chopped. So it's better to have a few big pieces that I have to cut up than for all of this to just be pureed into, you know, I don't want it to be in a sauce form. Now that I got most of the big pieces out, if I find any more big pieces, I'll go ahead and now I think this is all that goes in here except for the next few things. The spices and things, but there's one step that we've got to do here. We'll just stir all this together. Get all that off. Okay, there's that. I've got 1/4 cup of salt here. I'm going to put it all over these vegetables that I've got cut up in this bowl. Now that'll pull out most of the juices out of these vegetables, and it'll also give it a good salt flavor. Now it says cover with cold water. I've got my cold water right here. It won't take much to cover it. You can see there's a lot of liquid already in this. I don't know if you can see it, but down there at the bottom. But I'm just going to add a little bit to cover up the vegetables over. And now I've got to wait for them for about 2 hours. I'll put a pan over these and cover them up. And I'll let these set for 2 hours. We'll go ahead and clean up some of this stuff to use on our next relish. Well, the soaking time is over, and you can see there's a lot more liquid in this mixture than there was before it soaked. So it soaked out a lot of liquid, a lot of water out of the vegetables. So now we're just going to drain off the vegetables and let some of the water just run off of this. It smells really, really good to me. Now while that's straining off, we've got sugar, 2 cups of vinegar. That's 3.5 cups of sugar, 2 cups of vinegar. It calls for apple cider vinegar, the recipe does, but I have white vinegar on hand that is commercial. I do have apple cider vinegar, but it's vinegar that I made, and I'm not sure if the acidity level is up to what it needs to be at 5%, so I never use the homemade vinegar for canning, so I'm going to go ahead and use the white vinegar because that's what I have on hand. I've got 1 tablespoon of celery seed and 1 tablespoon of mustard seed. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, my stove here, and I'm going to add the vinegar first, 2 cups of vinegar. I'm going to add the mustard seed and the celery seed. And I'm going to go ahead and add the sugar. And I'm just going to stir this in until it's dissolved. And as this dissolves and simmers for just a few minutes, while we're letting our mixture, our relish mixture, strain and drain over there, as the heat comes up, we'll be getting all of that ready to can. Okay, we've got our sugar, our vinegar, and our spices. They've come to a boil, so now we're going to go ahead and add our vegetables. Now we've got our drained and rinsed vegetables. We're gonna let them simmer for about 10 minutes. Once it starts simmering or boiling, lightly boiling, I'll go ahead and set the timer for 10 minutes. Okay, our 10 minutes are up. We'll go ahead. You can see this has changed color slightly from simmering for 10 minutes. We brought it back up to a full boil, and now it's time to put it in the jars. I've got a few hot jars out here. We're going to go ahead and fill them up. Jars are hot. It smells really good and relishy. Well, I got 2 quarts and 3/4. I'm gonna let this one cool off and put it in the refrigerator and just eat it like that. We'll go ahead and wipe the rims of this and put the lids on. These are the 2 jars that will be canned. And then this one I'll just put in the fridge when it cools off. And we'll eat on that one first. I'll water bath these for about 10 minutes. These 2 cans for about 10 minutes. And that will be our relish. So we'll have 2 quarts, 2 3/4 quarts, 2 to can and put up, and 1 to put in the refrigerator and eat in about a week. Well, it's late when I'm getting this done. This video is getting rather long. I showed you how to make the sweet pickle relish out of the cucumbers and things that I had on hand that I needed to use up. And I'm going to do some of the squash relish, but I'm not going to do the squash relish tonight. That'll have to be for another day. Thank you for joining me. I hope this helped you in some way and gave you inspiration to put up some relish. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and like always, until next time.